everyone, welcome to my Summer Fruits and Watercolor series. If you are new here, my name is Emily Winslow and I love to spread the joy of watercolor to others. In this series, I will post a new video every Tuesday and Friday in the month of July, and in each video, I'll show you how to paint a different fruit with watercolor. Today's video is actually our last one in the series, so if you enjoyed it, go ahead and let me know in the comments below what your favorite fruit was to paint. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint kiwis with watercolor. And let's go ahead and grab our paintbrushes and get started. Let's go ahead and start with what materials we're going to be using in our painting today. So I am using a Prang Oval 16 watercolor kit. I have two brushes, a size 8 and a size 12, and we've got, of course, our paper, our water, and a pencil. So you can go ahead and find these materials on my Amazon storefront, and that is linked in the description. So like always, let's go ahead and start with our sketch. And I'm going to begin with our open kiwi on the left side. So pretty simple. We're going to just do a few oval shapes here. So I want this kiwi to be a little bit above, the top point to be above our middle. So let's go ahead and just start sketching. And we want it to be slanted a little bit towards our left here. So I'm just lightly sketching an oval shape. And it doesn't have to be too perfect. You can redo this a few times if you need to. You always need to pause the video to finish your sketch, no worries. And we want the outside to be showing, so go ahead and just extend a second line outside of the right side. And then we're just going to go ahead and do another kiwi, and we're just going to take that out of the top here and just make a oval just like this, and maybe have it towards the middle. And I'm gonna make it slant a little bit towards the left, so we want it to have its point maybe right about here. We don't want it to be too in the middle. So go ahead and finish your oval this way. And then we're just gonna have a little slice of kiwi just at the bottom here to fill some open space. So I'm just gonna take a diagonal line up and make our semicircle. And we want to show the outside of the kiwi, so I'm just gonna take an extra line and widen it here. So I'm just gonna make the bottom a little bit deeper. Just like that. And let's go ahead and mark our middle of the kiwi where we want to keep lighter. So we're just gonna make a little bit of a semicircle, or not a semicircle, we're going to do a full oval. And we want that to be right here on the inside. This will just help us leave some parts lighter than others. And same thing with this middle one, we want to leave the middle a little bit lighter. Go ahead and mark out that spot right there. All right, so now I think we're ready to go ahead and start painting. So we're gonna take our bigger brush, and I'm gonna start with our kiwi on the left side. And I'm just gonna mix up, I'm gonna start with our middle part here, and I wanna mix up a really light color. In fact, I'm just gonna use basically our white color in our watercolor palette, maybe a tad bit of yellow, orange, just to make it, oh, too much yellow. We want it to be basically a little bit of an off-white color. So I'm just gonna add that in here. Perfect. And then we're just gonna go ahead and Actually, I'm just going to spread that color over the entire kiwi. And then we'll just go in with our green here. But by spreading it over the entire area, that'll help us a little bit better with our blending. So let's go ahead and grab some green, and we're going to start light here. So I'm going to mix green and yellow, a bit of white, just to form a really light color here. I want it to be a little bit of a warmer green, so I'm adding some orange in here. That's better. So once we have the shade we like, let's go ahead and let's go a bit on the outside of the inner circle that we just did. And we don't want to be too exact with this. I'm kind of extending some lines here and there. And let's also go on the outside of our kiwi. So we're really kind of leaving two places highlighted. We want that inner oval that we sketched out. And we also want just the middle of the kiwi to also kind of still be lighter. Now from here, we're just going to continue adding in those layers. So I'm going to take my smaller brush actually, and we're going to take some darker greens, and I want to blend some brown with it. Maybe brown and orange. Just to get the shade we like. Once we have a darker color, let's go ahead and just add that in. Again, same motions we just did with the kiwi. Dotting it a little bit in the middle. We don't want these lines to be like straight, like making a very clean oval. We want it to be a little bit messy here, which is good and bad. It's like sometimes, you know, I accidentally make things messy, but it's almost harder to intentionally make something messy looking. It's like my hair. Sometimes I love a good messy bun, but it's hard to intentionally make a nice messy bun. I need to watch some more hair tutorials to figure that one out. Okay, same thing. Go ahead and line the outside of our kiwi. And I'm losing a bit of, what's it called? Blendability here. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water just to help us blend more. So we're going to go ahead and just get a darker green again. Add some black in here. Going to continue adding that around. We're gonna also add that a bit in the center. I love kiwis, but I just don't really buy them too often. I need to go get some after this tutorial. I don't know, I just never think to buy them. My go-to fruits are usually oranges and apples. In the summertime, usually strawberries, sometimes blueberries, but I don't know, I don't often just think to buy kiwis. They're good though. Gonna add in this darker, make some like line motions. Yeah, this middle part is a little tricky sometimes. We want it to, you know, not look too perfect. We do want those lines in there, so kind of using my finger to dot at it a little bit. I'm gonna leave that alone for a bit, and then we're gonna move on to our little one down here. So let's start with the same thing of getting that white, off-white color, and just adding that to that middle one here, and actually spreading that all around. And then let's go ahead and take our green. A little bit of orange in there. Always like to warm up my greens with orange to get that warmer tone. If you want to cool down a green, you can add blue. So let's go ahead and dot that in. And staying towards the bottom where the skin is. And I'm just kind of going to make some lines going upwards towards that middle. I'm going to continue just getting some darker green colors. Oops, way too much black on my paintbrush. You can always wash off your paintbrush in your water whenever you need. And just adding that in again at the bottom here. We put that towards the top as well. We don't want that green to be there too much, so I'm going to wipe it away. Go ahead and let that dry for a bit, and then we can revisit it with some more colors. Let's go ahead and move on to the skin part of our kiwis. So we want to have a brown color. Let's go ahead and take white and brown. And I'm going to start with our smaller kiwi here. I'm just going to take that just around here. We want it to be lighter towards the middle of the skin, so I'm going to take a darker color that outlines both towards the kiwi and on the outside. Okay, so once we have this, let's go ahead and grab a darker brown, mix it with black. Black and maybe purple. Now let's just go ahead and take that on the outside. Oops. Blending a little bit too much, so I'm going to wipe that away. And we want that to be towards the middle here. You want to blend that in a bit. You can just take your wet brush and swipe that across to blend it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take my bigger brush here. I want to do our outside, or our large kiwi here. So I'm just taking my white, a bit of brown and black to mix up the base color. And we're just going to go over the whole thing here. And just spread it all around. Go over the entire oval. We're going to start layering in slowly to get some darker values. So let's go ahead and take our dark brown, maybe with black. Just kind of add that in here at the bottom and on the right side. We're keeping these shadows to the outside of the kiwi. Go ahead and just make that go around very lightly. And then I'm going to go ahead and do that for our bottom kiwi as well. Take our very light brown, kind of add that in lightly. Make the skin go very lightly around the edge. Okay, so now while this paint is still wet, let's go ahead and mix up some darker values with maybe blue, maybe black, a bit of brown. Oops, a little too much brown on there. And then let's add that in again towards the bottom of our kiwi and on the side. Will just help add our shadows to help it look more 3D. Kind of going in a circle here to give it that sphere shape, and it helps adding. I'm going to take my smaller brush and also add those darker colors to our smaller kiwi here. Let's go ahead and add that at the bottom and on the right side here. And now I'm actually going to add some more dark green. Now that our bottom kiwi has dried a bit, I wanted to add a bit more to that one. Take our dark green and kind of go at the edge of skin here. And I want to make some lines that are kind of going up towards that middle section a bit. Like that. There's a few more things I want to do to our kiwi before we add our shadows. And let's go ahead and add the little nub that's here at the top. Just gonna go ahead and make a circle here. And we're gonna let this one dry a little bit before we add a little shadow in there. Go ahead and let that one dry. I'm going to try to take a little bit of paint off, so just using my brush to take away paint if you need. And I'm going to go ahead and add in a darker brown right here at the edge. Now let that dry for a bit and then add one more thing to that. But let's go ahead and add our seeds. So I'm going to take blue and black too. I don't want it to be too stark black. I wanted to tone it down a bit. So by adding blue, that helps a little bit. And I'm just going to dot the inside of our kiwi here. So we don't want these dots to be too symmetrical. We're just kind of keeping them on the outside, but being a little bit more chaotic with where we put them. Doesn't have to be too specific. Just keeping them right around where that darker green is. Now let's go ahead and do that on our smaller kiwi as well. Go ahead and add that in. Really helps make the kiwi look like a kiwi. I'm gonna add a few more shadows where I see where I need them. So at this point you can kind of just make any more changes to your kiwi that you see where it's needed. I think I need a little bit more dark colors right outside of this sliced one. And just adding that in. And then let's go ahead and add the shadows that are at the bottom of the kiwi. So I'm gonna just take a light color. So I'm mixing up the white, maybe take a bit of blue. And I'm gonna add that here, just right across the bottom. Don't wanna go too high on it. And I'm taking that all the way across the page. And under our kiwi. And on the big one. once we have that base shadow, we can go ahead and grab some darker. So I'm just going to take that mix of blue and black that we've got here, maybe a little bit of purple or more blue. And I want to make the shadow a little bit sharper to define where these kiwis are casting that shadow. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that in here. And right across here. This will just help with the depth of the painting a little bit. Maybe just add a tad bit more blue in there. And add that to just the side of the shadow. The last thing I almost forgot to do was to just add a tad bit more to our nub here, and I'm just gonna do a second little semicircle in the middle. And just like that. And we are all done with our kiwi painting. I hope you join me for my next video. If you've been following along on this challenge, I'd love if you post your artwork to social media and tag me at Watercolor with Emily. Since this is our last video in the series, let me know in the comments below what you'd want to learn how to paint next, and maybe I'll make another series on it. As always, you can find me on social media at Watercolor with Emily or my website, watercolorwithemily.com. Until we paint again next time.